Are we in? I can't tell. We're
Oh
in.
yeah.
Okay. That's how the last one started too. I was like, are we in? I can't tell. Then I had to go to YouTube and see myself. Hi, everybody. Hi. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to wait for the live to, I know you guys kind of come in when you feel like it, but it's cool because you can always rewind. This is where we're keeping it real chill over here at the YGDA podcast. I got my girl all the way from B-More, DMV area, East Coast swag. Comedian, you may have seen her on Heart of the City, the very funny Miss Ty Davis. Give her a round of applause. And I'm going to let Ty tell you a little bit about herself while I make sure we're doing this right. Go ahead, girl.
So I had one television appearance on a big scale, should I say. I was on Heart of the City for season 3, representing Baltimore. And I've just been doing stand-up comedy pretty much any place that will have me across the country. I am single. I am 40 years old, mother of 2, grandmother of 1, and I have a cat.
You don't look like anybody's grandma. That is so amazing. That is, oh, God, aging goals. I'm older than you. Wait, I'm older than you. Aging goals.
First child when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
25. So my oldest is 25 and my youngest is 16.
Okay, almost done.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You almost done. I think you got a good thing going over there on the mom front.
Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm so excited. Like, I can't wait. I'm out of here. I'm trying to get early release for time served because at this point, does she need me? I don't think so.
On behalf of the youngest, which I am, I can tell you that youngest is watching everything wrong you two did and determined to not do it. She's just gonna turn 18 and go totally chill. I'm a NASA mom. I want to be an astronaut. Like, I'm moving to Tibet. Yes, I'm gonna go study in Greece. The youngest will watch everybody's mistakes. Like, not doing that, not doing that, not doing that.
I'm gonna pack up my stuff and I'm gonna get me a studio apartment in LA and just try to become successful until I die. That's what
You trying to come out to Cali?
Yeah, I'm trying to go to Cali.
Well, we're gonna have to get you booed up before you go, because once you get to Cali, it's a wrap, right?
I feel like it's a wrap.
We're all dating the same 3 guys. 2 of them are homeless. It's not even straight. They know available straight men that like black women in Los Angeles. Are you crazy?
I'm on vacation, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah, Cali is where men come to get away from women that look like us. Like, it's almost like they get off the plane and go, what I want to date you for? They had you back home. I'm trying to get something different. So yeah, they almost like they hate us. Yeah.
But
yeah, they like them exotics. Yeah.
Like, the black woman is exotic, but okay.
To everybody else but the black man, apparently. But that's see, we blame it. And that's not what we do on this podcast. We don't blame.
I typically like the black dudes that like me a little, I guess. I don't know.
I agree.
I've done the whole interracial dating thing. I've tried that, and I have a preference. So,
My grandmother always taught us that. She was like who like you.
Yeah.
That's a key component, I think, when you're dating. You have to like me. Don't do me a favor. Like, I don't need that. I need you to like me. I always hate when you meet the guy and then you see his exes and they don't look anything like you. And you're like, so am I the experiment? Or why? And my full figure friends say that happens to them a lot, where guys will be like, oh, we like big girls, but then all the girlfriends will be slim. Yeah, like, if you like big girls, why do you have a whole bunch of big girls in your past?
I don't
I like to Frankenstein this relationship. I hate that a lot. And I think brown skin girls, that's kind of a little chip we might have on our shoulder a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, don't be talking about you like brown and then everybody you dated was light skinned. Because now I feel like test tube relationship.
Yeah,
Beaker.
Come over here testing your hypothesis on me.
Exactly. It's all like when the dude get hurt by a light skinned girl, it's like, I ain't dating no more light skinned girls. Oh, I'm gonna go talk to Heather. Nah, dog.
Right.
No. I'm coming over here thinking I want the same. I'm gonna be just as unreasonable as she is. I want you to buy me everything too. I want everything she got. Don't be trying to come over here thinking it's gonna be easier.
The same.
And that's what I think. I be thinking like, oh, y'all just don't want to work, so y'all coming over here, so you ain't got to do nothing.
Nah, you got work. Bro. You still got work over here.
Exactly. I like dinner and flowers too. Hello. Well, no, what's wrong with you? That's funny. I got to make a topic out of that. That's a future podcast.
Yeah, that's what I do. Like sometimes, like I'll see, like I might see a meme and be like, "Oh man, let me write that down." And like I'll get my podcast ideas or something may have happened. So
yeah, I mean, let's talk about what people are talking about. That makes more sense.
And it's like on my podcast, I don't talk so much deeply about like the trending stuff. Like my episodes are usually stuff that's not dated. So like you could go back and listen to it 2 years from now and be like, oh yeah, that's still real. Right. Yeah. I might use something like a trending topic from today to like, use that as an example or piggyback off of. But for the most part, like I think the last episode of my podcast that I did was about the girl code. And because these hoes ain't loyal.
Okay. Okay, so we start off every episode by being fully transparent. Okay. And you have big shoes to fill because on last episode, my girl Mel, Lord, it was like psychiatry session over here. She went so deep. We was like, okay. But this is like our moment to be transparent. And I am going to make Don do it when he jumps into the thread as well. If it comes to it and you end up not meeting anybody before you pass away, why would that have happened? Like, why, if you die alone, and I'm not wishing that on you, but if you die alone and you facing the pearly gates and you looking, you like, okay, why are you here? Why are you by yourself? All right, Jesus, let me tell you the whole story. What would it be?
I'm fully prepared, and I've recently accepted that I may never marry. I may never have a life partner. I very well may die alone. Because for a large portion of my life, I was a fuck girl, just out here being emotionally abused and mentally and physically and spiritually abused and not loving on myself and expecting someone else in the world to love me the way that I said I wanted to be loved, but I wasn't loving myself that way. So now I'm in the space where it's like, you know what, it's time for you to love you and take care of you and all of that over functioning and people pleasing and codependency, like fix it. So I'm in the fix it phase of my life, and I'm older now, and I'm like, oh snap, like I just came to this realization probably within the last 18 months. So I'm prepared to do the next 40 years of work on myself, which means I'm probably going to be alone.
Did COVID, when you were by yourself, did that awaken anything in you?
Yeah and no. Like I think it enhanced something that was already there. So like I ended a relationship with a guy in December of last year. And it was a back and forth, makeup, breakup, and we did that for a few years. And then I just was like, I'm tired. Like this relationship is awful. You're toxic. I'm toxic. You're trash. I'm trash. We're just a big pile of trash together. And we just need to just go our separate ways. And so I was healing and dealing with that. And then I went on a workcation in January. I did this cruise and I did some comedy shows on the cruise, and then came back and boom, COVID.
Right.
Like, okay. And I literally, like, it's a new bit that I'm working on. Like, I got so bored in the pandemic that I decided to fully work on myself. Like I watched everything on Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Epix, Quibi. Like I had read, I was like, well, what do I do now? Okay, I got certified as a life coach. Oh, this is cool. And then I was like, you know what? I need to go back to college. So I went back to school. I'm in school. And I was like, what else? So I'm literally like rehabbing my whole physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual being. And I got so bored that I said, now it's time for you to work on you. So I'm in the accountability, spiritual awakening phase of my life now.
That was really transparent. I like rehabbing myself. That's great. We got to get that on a shirt.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't think you're the only person. I think quarantine had that effect on a lot of us where we were just like, wait a minute, we gotta look at self and see what's wrong. Because especially when you think about like how old you are when you started dating. You know what I mean? Like the first time a boy asked you out, 16, 41. Okay, 25 years. That's a long time to be messing up. That's a long time.
It's like, you know, I always used to do the thing where it was like, why can't I find somebody that loves me the way that I want to be loved? And why do I keep attracting all of these fuck boys? And it was like, maybe it's because you're a fuck girl, Ty. That's why you keep attracting these types of dudes. This is the energy that you're putting out, and it's a magnet to you. So I realized in quarantine, the type of man that I want, I'm not even the woman that I need to be to attract the type of man that I want. So fix that. So I'm working on becoming the type of woman I need to be to attract the kind of man that I want.
And on that note, I would like to introduce you to my friend Don Snipes. This is my friend Ty. She is a F girl, because my dad's right here. Former reformed, rehabbed F girl. I have a question about what does that look like? What is a?
I didn't even ask if we could use profanity, and I definitely dropped that hard F bomb. I apologize.
No, go right ahead.
So what that basically entails is not just you're just going out with guys and using them for their money and things like that. Me being an F girl was stuff like expecting someone to be honest with me, expecting my partner to be honest with me and truthful with me and vulnerable with me, and telling him that he needs to learn how to communicate effectively. But then I would turn around and weaponize his vulnerability against him. Like he opened up to me about his feelings, and then I turned around and was like, "You acting like a," and you know what I mean? So it's like he gave me what I asked him for, and then I penalized him for it.
Or right.
I'm expecting you to love me and worship me and adore me, but I didn't love and worship and adore myself. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then it was like, oh, I need you to communicate. I need you to talk and tell me what's going on. But then when I'm upset, what's wrong, babe? Nothing. I'm fine. You know what I mean? So I wasn't communicating, and then I would be emotionally abusive and passive aggressive and use the silent treatment and withdraw my affection as a form of punishment, because that was the only way that I knew to react and handle, which dates back to like my childhood trauma. I was raised by an emotionally unavailable narcissistic parent, and that is why I attract that in my partners. And then I try to overcompensate and overfunction and fix it. Like I've had dudes flat out tell me, I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't want to get married. And then I would overfunction and try to do all of these white things and make him see that I was the right woman, and then get mad and resent him because he was honoring what he said, which was that he didn't want to be in a relationship. And then it was like, okay, you're not listening, Ty. You always talk about people don't listen to you. You don't listen to them. So I was like, you know what? Listen to them. Listen to your heart. Fix you. What are your issues? And I literally went down the line of guys that I dated, all of my serious relationships. And I was like, what do all of these men have in common? Okay, we broke up. What were the problems that we had in all of these relationships? And the common denominator was me.
Yeah, but of course, the common denominator in all of us, if I all my exes, the common denominator is going to be me. That's kind of normal though.
But it's right? like even all of my partners, like physically, they would look different. Like some would be light skinned, some would be brown skinned, some would be short, some would be tall, some would be husky, some would be slim. And then it was like, oh, but these guys were mentally and emotionally abusive. They would be gaslighting, and they would do all of this trickery, and one minute they're hot, the next minute they're cold. And then it was like, but why do I attract that? Because low key at the time, I lived for that drama because it was exciting. It was like, ooh, you're giving me all of your affection, and now you're taking it away. And now I got to work hard to chase you and get it back. And now that I got it back, now I want you to work hard and chase me. I was thrilled by the cat and mouse game. And then I woke up one day and was like, this is exhausting. I'm tired. Like, I don't want this. And then I said, well, what do you want? And I was like, I don't even know. And I had to do that research and find, like, what do you want? Who do you want? Who are you? Like, what do you love about you? What are the things that you like? And if you're going to be by yourself for the rest of your life, if you die today, I asked myself the critical question, would you date you? And I was like, nah. Like, I wouldn't. When I asked myself, would you date you? Nah, I wouldn't. So I want to be the type of woman that if I saw these same qualities in the man that I want, would I date him? Is he stable? Is he secure? So that's what it was. The common denominator was me. I was attracting and choosing men that were emotionally unavailable because that's the environment that I was raised in, and that's what I know. So now I have to do something different. It's easy to keep dealing with piece of crap guys when you're a piece of crap person. You know what's hard? Pointing the finger at yourself and trying to figure out what is wrong with you.
Yeah.
So
no, that's real. That's very honest. That was a very poignant and honest assessment of self-analysis there, girl. We kind of wrap up. Like she's like, what's left to say? Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna let Don miss the intro. Ty basically just told us a little bit about herself, and as you can see, we went here. So now I'm gonna give you the same opportunity. This is my friend Don. He is a writer, director, actor of many bodies of work. One of the hardest working men I know personally. I wanted him to come on this particular episode because what all three of us have in common is that we were all young parents. So we all kind of got into the parenting game maybe before we were emotionally ready, which in my opinion sends you down a whole nother path. Because you jumping into the family business a little too soon. Maybe I guess that also might depend on your generation, because I know, your grandmother had a baby at 13 and all this or whatever. But in the year I was born, in my opinion, a little too soon. And I definitely think a lot of decisions I made in my 20s were based on the fact that I had already had a fully functioning, sustaining relationship and a child. By the time some people were just getting into relationships, I had already, ended one and had a baby to show for it. So I think it's real easy to fall into a little wormhole. So that's kind of why another reason why I wanted to pair the three of us together, because I just felt like we were becoming from the same perspective. So Don, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to ask you that icebreaker question. Go ahead.
I want to make a comment first. I really can respect, what you said, Ty, in terms of, just kind of going through your own self-discovery of things. I just wanted to add that I know a lot of us kind of think of it as, what we're attracting in our lives. And I think that, that's kind of like the first phase of it, because, that's just what, we're hearing right now. You hear about the law of attraction and all this other kind of stuff. But I just like to take it a step further and really, when you start learning about the law of attraction, it's not even really that. It's actually that, the people that are in our lives and the situations come up as of what's already within our being. And when you look at it that way, then it puts a different light on it. You understand what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is, instead of us attracting these things, we realize that we're creating them because they live within our own minds. You understand what I'm saying? This ideology that, this man or this woman, they love me. Whether, I'll use myself for an example. I always dated women that looking from the outside in, people would say, oh, you like crazy girls. You know what I'm saying? And I would joke and say, oh man, my tolerance for crazy girls is a little bit more higher than yours. So I'm fine with it. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know, there was something that resonated within myself that I always would empathize with. You understand what I'm saying? With the women that I dated. And so, yeah, anyway, I just much respect to what you said. A little bit about myself, Heather. I mean, I think you already said I enjoy acting, writing, directing, and I have two girls, one 16 and the other 21, one in college right now, the other junior. And I think that the girls actually changed my life. I also have a 16 and the other echo H-Tech.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I also have a boy, you know, and that's an entirely different situation. But I have two girls and a boy, and when I had my girl, and I wrote this for a birthday because both my girls their birthday in September, but I just remember thinking back that when I had a kid, pretty much every adult male that was in my life was like, yo, your life about to be ruined. The mother is about to do this, you know, you're going to be arguing. And I mean, like, my mind was already being preconditioned to look at my child, you know, me having a child at such an early age as like something that was just going to destroy me. And so because I already start having that, you know, planted, that seed being planted, it manifested in, you know, petty arguments and, you know, just the BS that young parents go through. When at the end of the day, you know, and what I really needed was, you know, guidance in terms of, you know, what to do as a man. And to be honest with you, couldn't get that from anybody. You know, I've learned, you know, sometimes you ask married people for advice, you know, but if they're not happily married people and they don't have a healthy marriage, fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're going to tell you some bull crap. And I think that so many of us are used to hearing the bull crap that is just the norm now. And it really is sad because it doesn't, for some people, it doesn't even give you hope to find someone that, you know, you want to love, you want to, you know, walk with, you know, throughout your journey in life. And so I don't know, my girls definitely changed my life. And me having a boy, you know, again, I think that all men should just be present in their children's life. Like, I'm big on that. And I'm the type of parent that I was always willing to sacrifice my time, energy, and effort for the greater good of my child. Like, one day I was arguing with my oldest kid's mother. And I mean, like, it had got bad. And I literally asked myself this question. I'm like, yo, like, what's the priority here? Do I care about her winning or do I care about my daughter winning? And believe it or not, like, for the last, you know, 10, 11 years, that has always been my go-to, you know, if anything has arisen, you know what I'm saying, any problems came up. It's just like, at the end of the day, it's really not about you. It's about her, my, you know, meaning, you know, my child. And that's the only thing that I'm worried about. So if it's in her best interest, do what you want to do, but she's going to come out on top no matter what. So screw my feelings, screw how I feel about it. I'm not worried about somebody calling me on my name, them trying to embarrass me by saying little stuff about me. Like, it literally became my go-to. Like, I don't care what you feel like. If it's not going to benefit my child, then, you know what I'm saying, I don't really care. And I'm willing to me, that's the sacrifice in being a parent, and that I was willing to take.
Well, we all had to do that. I think that those relationships you have with the person you make a life with are very, what's the word I'm looking for? They dictate a lot of how you move in relationships after that. That person, I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but I feel like the baby mamas and the baby daddies can hurt you in a different way. They can derail you in a different way. And I think it's very common for us to take those losses into the next relationship. And then we take those losses, and then it becomes a snowball of all this burden that we're carrying, all this hurt that we're taking into the next relationships. And you get to a point where you think about liking somebody and you get afraid. And you're like, oh, like, I can't speak for you guys, but I know I've had that moment where I'm like, oh no, I like him. Oh my God. Oh my God. Because it's like, now it can only end badly. Now I can only be hurt. And so then it's like you try to like stop it. Like you try to slow it down. Like, I don't want to like you that much. I'm only gonna let myself like you this much for now because I'm afraid. And I really think that's a result of everything, all the disappointments that we've carried. And because we did start families younger, we started accumulating the snow younger. So yeah, I could be 30 talking to somebody else is 30, but I started this journey at 18. So I'm carrying 12 years and maybe he's only carrying 8. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm saying it right, but like that's how I feel or whatever. And I don't think enough of us are just honest about the fact that the thought of surrendering to someone is terrifying. It's terrifying. What do you guys think?
Again, I think that I think that it's very important that moving forward, we teach our children the importance of emotional intelligence. That's one thing that I'm big with my kids. Simply because you said, I agree with you. I think that possibility exists for us to happen. And it's unfortunate that a lot of us, we don't know any better. And so our mind, gets kind of fixated. This is the way that things are in life when there is a different way. And I think that, especially men, I think it's like for me, that's one of the biggest things that me and girl for me was kind of allow me to, tap into my energy as opposed to always use masculine energy. And what I mean by that is for me, I think that masculine energy is so misunderstood because it's been from this old model doesn't work anymore. I think that once I started realizing that it made me want to be to my role and communicate and have a relationship in that point and not standpoint I'm gonna do the fuck to do and I don't have to give you any explanation behind how I want you to do it. For me, turn more into yes, your dad, but to be here for you, way that would kind of nurture you and love you, make you feel because my end game with was I never wanted my daughters to the guy that be getting a pocket and it don't feel right. You know what I'm saying? I give you an example like I'm never like, cut my kids, they're older now, so I may cuss in conversation. I'm just saying in terms of disciplining them, raising voice and yelling at them, talking to them in a kind of anyway, I never did it. Simply because once they're older, I want them to know like they're in a situation where a guy that they're dating on that shit, I wanted to feel fucked up for, you know what I'm saying? To the point where it's just like, man, this shit feel right, like really, really wrong. You know what I'm saying? I need to really, figure out what this shit is because this is not, what I'm accustomed to. So that was kind of my end game with how I approach, raising them. And like you said, because I had them young, that afforded me the opportunity to learn more even about myself. Because again, I wasn't treating the relationships that I had with women like that. I actually started loving them in a different capacity, faster than I that translated into my own personal relationship.
Ty, what do you think? Do you think that you carry some of the parenting hurt into future relationships or into the next relationships?
Yeah, I absolutely think that I carry a large part of that into all of my future relationships. I had my first child when I was 14. Like I wasn't even really into boys. You know what I mean? It was like I was a bookworm. I was doing my schoolwork and a guy noticed me and liked me. He was, the older brother of my best friend. And I was just like, okay, well, if he likes me, it must be cool. I wasn't even interested in that way. And I just kind of was like, all right, well, if he likes me, then I'll like him back. I didn't even know if you know what I mean? And so I carried all of that stuff in. And then after, the shame and the ostracizing that I faced after, having a child, you know, and then the only guys that were attracted to me after that point were men that were older than me,
Mm-hmm.
16 and 17 years old. And, you know, the boys that I went to school with, they were like kind of afraid to date me.
Mm-hmm.
And but older men were, so I gravitated to dating men that were considerably older than me. And
Mm-hmm.
I did that for years until like 8 years ago when I started dating men that were younger than me. Because I
Hey,
was like, oh, this is fun. Hurt people hurt
I ain't
people.
mad at you.
So I was dating men that were younger than me because I missed out on dating guys my age and younger guys.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think I carried all of that behavior from the very beginning into all of my relationships, and
Mm-hmm.
even to the last relationship that I was in. Like I was on my cougar lifestyle. Yay, this is fun. And then here comes some old dude named Marvin that sweeps me off my feet. And his name's not really Marvin, but it's, you know, just in case he's watching, I don't want him to know that I'm saying his name. But, you know, and it was like I literally fell right back into that old habit
Mm-hmm.
with ease. It was no problem. I went back to what was comfortable and what I knew. So I definitely think that it affected my relationships that I had with men, and you know why I'm single and probably gonna die alone now.
Well, we're not gonna speak it into existence, Ty. I feel
But
like
you know,
you're really married to it. We don't want that. I'm just saying I really feel like we gotta start doing the work. Like you said, we gotta do the work
well,
while we're at this halfway point. This is a good place to better late than never. I feel like when I had my son, my parents have been married 50 something years. So they're definitely the you ride it out to the wheels fall off type of, nothing makes you leave your wife, nothing makes you leave your husband. You deal with it. So when we were having problems in our relationship, um, instead of getting the kind of counsel and advice that I needed, I was getting shut up and deal with it. And so when it all went haywire anyway, it was like, you guys told me to shut up and deal with it. And I endured some toxic, abusive foolishness for way longer than I should have. And so I was so terrified that it was like for years I dated like, I don't know what I want. I just know what I don't want. So you can't do anything like he did, like anything that triggers those emotions. So my son's father, he hated the way I dressed. So if I wore a short skirt, he'd burn my clothes or throw them away or something super abusive. And so if a guy was like, "You wearing that? You gotta go." You know what I mean? Like, nope. He could have been asking because he knew somebody else was gonna have that same outfit on at the party. You know what I mean? But all I heard was control freak. You're gonna throw away my clothes. You know what I mean? So, and that's like you said, trauma or whatever. And I definitely carried the fear of that. And I'm gonna be really transparent. I probably carried that into relationships probably for the next 15, maybe 18 years of me just being like, I don't know what I want. I just know what I'm not ever living with again. And that is totally textbook being crippled by fear. You know what I mean? Like that's textbook phobia. Because you can't love somebody if you won't let them make mistakes or you won't let them be who they're gonna be because you're so afraid it's gonna trigger some past pain. And I don't know. I think a lot of us are kind of caught in that rut and we're just not saying it. Or maybe we don't know. But I think that's real. That's just I don't know. You guys are looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, no. I often now I'll ask you, if you could name 10 things that could make a man feel like a man, like what would it be? What would you do?
I'm not
Like,
even gonna pretend I can do that. I'm not even gonna
hold on,
pretend. 10?
listen, right? This
10?
is what I'm asking, right? Just listen. Women say all the time, like, they have these different lists of things that men could do to make them feel like women. And you hear them all the time. They'll say, look, I want this guy to make me feel protected. I want this guy to, make me feel like he's, financially providing for me. I want this guy to do this. And this is this list, right? And I always ask women, I flip it on. I say, okay, listen, I got you. Now, tell me the things that you will do to make that man feel like a man. All right. And like, usually they just draw a blank. You understand what I'm saying? And the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because, again, I think that you have two different things that are going on. For a lot of men, and I think I speak for a lot of men when I say this, at a very early age, you know, we're taught to suppress our feelings. We're taught that it is not masculine to display being vulnerable, being open. And I'm gonna tell you what happens is that comes back to bite us in the ass when we're older. And the sad part about this is some of the very same women, single mothers and parents that actually are raising these men are the ones that are giving them this information. All right. I will never forget. I was dating this woman, and we took the kids to a fair one day, and her son was the same age as my daughter, and they got ready to go on a little baby roller coaster. Whoop-de-doo. They had to about 5. And I'll never forget, he started crying. She literally embarrassed him, emasculated him, gave him a whooping simply because he was crying. Because, you know, my daughter was like, hey, look, I want to get on this roller coaster. But he's like, I'm scared. You know what I'm saying? Which was nothing wrong with that. All right. And what happens is, now fast forward, this is a grown man who may have fears, insecurities, and things that he's vulnerable about. Who can he talk to about this? You can't talk to other men about it because that's not socially accepted. You looked at as a weak ass man. You can't talk to women about it because if you talk to a woman about it, she either gonna exploit that shit and tear your ass out the frame, or
as previously described by Ty.
Yeah, or he's gonna find himself being fucked over constantly. All right, so and then on the flip side with the women, all right, they have these things that they need a man to do to make them feel like a woman, make them feel safe, secure, and all this other kind of stuff, stable. But then on the flip side, like, what are you willing to give this man? Do you know how to be supportive of him? Do you know how to be encouraging of him? You know what I'm saying? In his endeavors. Do you know how to speak to him in such a way where you're not emasculating him? You know what I'm saying? You are, you know, kind of saying, hey, look, I'm here with you and for you, and I can be your teammate. And again, a lot of women don't know how to do that, you know, because they love so hard, and they're, you know, they're used to seeing their mother deal with situations in a certain kind of way that, again, which is why I stated at the beginning, just for me, because I can't speak for women, I firmly believe that there needs to be a redefining of what true masculinity is. You know what I'm saying? If I had to say anything for me to kind of sum up, you know, this topic, I would say for me, one of the biggest things that I learned in my life is that one of the greatest gifts that I could give a woman is emotional stability, because I know a lot of times I wasn't emotionally available. And again, whether it was because I lacked maturity or I didn't know how, at the end of the day, it starts with self. And, you know, if I realized that, you know, if I wasn't loving myself a certain kind of way, you cannot give something that you don't have. You get what I'm saying? I can't give you $5 if I don't got the $5. I can't give you love if I don't have the love. I cannot give you emotional stability if I'm running all over the fucking place and don't know what the hell it is. For me, that was something that I learned was very, very important to women, because I would see women that are dating these guys that this guy is giving them all the shit in the world, but they still cheating on them. Or they talk to me. That's the truth. Or they're trying to have sex with me. And it's like, man, this dude is taking care of you. I would see that a lot. Or I would see women dating men, and because they didn't love themselves and they look this man some type of, they compromised who they were as women, you know, and that came in the form of being talked to any kind of way, dogged out, treated like shit, being stood up, left alone, left in the damn house. I've heard crazy stories of a guy taking a chick on a vacation, leaving her in the room and not showing back up till 2 or 3 days later, because while he there, he didn't gave her a stack and said, hey, look, go shopping. But he didn't met another bitch there and hung out with her the whole weekend, and then showed back up like, hey, look, I gave you some money, so what you tripping on? I've heard craziness like that. And again, for me, that's where I'm like, I say my girls kind of changed my perspective about a lot of stuff, because in my mind it was just like, man, fuck that. I'd be damned if some dude do that to you. Like, A, you can have your own shit, and then B, you're gonna have a hound dog nose when somebody come with that fuckboy shit, because we not buying it over here. Like, period.
But you don't think that is because they're afraid to be better? You don't think that's because it's a fear, like you said, men are kind of taught not to be vulnerable, not to be weak. So they put up what they think it means to be strong. And unfortunately, it's a lot of toxicity in that perceived false front of strength. You don't think that, Don?
Do I not?
You don't think there's fear mixed up in that kind of behavior?
All of it is fear.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, to me, that's all. Those are all people that are terrified. I think the woman that stays with a man that treated her like that is afraid of what she's gonna lose, or afraid she can't get another guy to do things for her. You know what I mean? Because it isn't even logical that you would stay in a situation where somebody was that disrespectful of you. That isn't even logical. And we're in the absence of logic, fear can plant a seed and grow an oak. And before you know it, everything you're doing is revolving around what really is at its root a strong terror of being alone, or not being good enough, or not being chosen, or not belonging, or not being loved, or whatever, whatever the fear is. But I feel like everything that we deal with in our dating lives kind of centers back to somebody that's really scared to do better for whatever reason. And what do you think, Ty? Because that story Don told was pretty bad. That was a pretty terrible story.
Yeah,
I was watching you react.
It's crazy. I'm listening to the story and I'm like, why would somebody put up with that? But then I start to run the reel in my head about stuff that I've put up with. Rated that you don't know how bad your story is until you tell it to someone else and see how they react to it. And I once stayed in a physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive relationship because I didn't want to hear my mother say, I told you so. Like, I stayed in a relationship with someone that I didn't want to be with, that didn't make me happy, that was hurting me, because I didn't want to say, I need help. Help me. This is bad. I didn't want to hear that. And I have I have abandonment issues and I have commitment issues, which are deeply rooted in me having trust issues. I was raised in a military environment. My primary caretaker was, an Army soldier that sometimes you got to get up and go, and I may not see you for 6 months or a year or however long. And now I have to maneuver in that environment. And when I trust someone and I love someone, when I finally let down that guard and I let you in, now I'm over functioning in my mind because I know what it feels like to be abandoned and to be left, that I don't want to do that to other people. So I will overstay in situations that I should leave because of my own fear of it. Like, I'm going to stay here and deal with this bad, negative stuff because I know what it's like to be left. And what if things get better and I left before they did?
Right.
So I would always have stuff like that running through my mind. And to Don's point, when he asked about what could we do for a man, like, I learned that from my past mistakes and relationships that I've had with men, especially with Black men. Like, I would say, talk to me. Why aren't you communicating? Tell me what you feel. What are you thinking? And what is hurting you? And then when you do it, then I store it. And then later I use it to throw back at you to hurt you. So for me, I need to learn to listen. I need to listen. And I always talk about how it's important for me to feel safe. It's important for me to feel secure. It's important for me to feel protected and provided. And for me to be able to come home to a place of peace, I need to be able to facilitate that same environment for my partner. Because if he can't come home to a peaceful place, if he can't come home and look at me and talk to me as his friend, or feel like he can say whatever he wants to say in front of me, or cry in front of me, then why would he protect me if I don't make him feel safe? So it's kind of that too. Those are things that I'm learning.
You know who I learned just from, because again, I'm a filmmaker, and so I was working on a documentary, and You just said something that resonated with me, and that was um, having the skill set to create a safe space for men to come to. All right, and here's the deal: at the end of the day, a lot of us men, we're ego driven, and again, the ego for us, it takes, it's kind of paramount in the way that we make a lot of our decisions, simply because we don't know any better,
Mm-hmm.
and we operate from that place as opposed to operating from our soul and our heart, because like you said, Heather, that's kind of scary. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
us operate out of our ego. But I'll say this: because a lot of us operate out of our ego, that's the one thing that women who don't have that skill set, they get cheated on. I'm just,
Mm.
and I'm gonna tell you who I learned this from. I learned this from talking to strippers.
Mm.
Strippers said to me, hear me out on this. They said, listen, the one up that we have on a lot of women is that we listen to the men. That's
Mm.
got to do shit else. So while you think your man is in there and he want to come see some titties and ass shaking, no. What this man often doing when you get him in a quiet space by himself or outside of the club is, I'm unhappy, I'm hurt, I'm this, I'm that, and they become a shoulder to lean on. You understand
Mm.
what I'm saying? And now here's the deal. What people don't understand is, once again, at the beginning of this conversation, I said that, hey, when we connect with people, we really mirroring what's going on inside of our own imagination and our own mind. Well,
Mm-hmm.
contrary to what most people believe, strippers have the appearance that they have a lot of shit going on, but guess what? A lot of them are hurt, going through pain, struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? Is it a big coincidence that now people are connecting? You get what I'm saying? You got this
Mm-hmm.
guy who may be hurt because his ego is bruised a little bit. Maybe his wife's not appreciating him. You get what I'm saying? Maybe
Mm-hmm.
she's talking to him in a condescending way. Maybe she's putting pressure on him to be more of a man, and she don't do shit. You get what I'm saying? So now what?
Mm-hmm.
He goes to this club, which is his little outlet, and now he links up with somebody who, guess what? They're hurt. There's something inside of that woman that's going through the exact same shit. And boom,
Mm-hmm.
that's how those people become attracted to one another. And you find guys that are bar guys and just like, all I want to do is hang in here. Why? Because when they walk in there, even though the layman, we might look at it and be like, man, you about to walk in here and she didn't let 5 or 6 dudes suck on her breasts or A, B, and C. Man, they don't care.
Yeah.
And they in their mind, I'm walking in the door. She excited to see me. Some of them dudes, chicks get more excited to see them when they walk in the door than when they do when they're at home with their own wife.
Well, that's because they walking in the door throwing money. Hello.
See,
Hello.
listen. That may be the
Money at your wife, she gonna be excited too.
Listen, that may be the perceived notion, but I'm trying to tell you it's deeper than that.
I believe you. I believe that I believe a lot of people are just hurting and they'd rather medicate it or sell it as something else or convince themselves it's something else than just admit, because I mean I hear you and I totally feel really bad for the man that can only feel accepted at the strip club and doesn't feel accepted in his own home. The book of Proverbs, not to get too religious, tells us that a woman can make a man prefer the roof of his house than being inside his house if she ain't running that house right. So that's just true. But is he telling his wife this? You know what I mean? Is he at least even giving her an opportunity? But this is not a podcast for married people, so we're not about to worry about them. They're not gonna die alone. We are. So we're gonna keep it on. We're gonna keep it on topic. But I'm just saying to tell your wife that you.
But you Heather, like having been, because I'm single, I've never been married. I got engaged one time. Thank the Lord that didn't work out. But I have, and a lot of women, I don't know who watching, and usually I lose people with what I'm about to say, but this is my truth, and I'm not ashamed of my story or my past. I was so
Preach.
damaged by relationships that I had with men that I sought refuge as being the other woman. So
Mm-hmm.
I have been a side chick, jump off, mistress, kept woman, cared for, whatever you want to call her. And those relationships became a safe haven for me. It was like, ooh, this is perfect. I don't have the responsibility of dealing with this man 24 hours a day. He can come here to this space and we can be together, and this is what it is. And then I send him home. And I was in a relationship with one guy for 9 years. I was with him for almost 9 years until he died. And I became a side widow. But that's another story. And I was with him.
A side widow? What the fuck?
Oh my, she's being so serious. That was so funny. Oh my God.
And I say it on stage, and people are always like, "Is that real?" It's real. I was a side widow. If you know what I mean. But what I found in those relationships, being with men that had wives or had girlfriends that they lived with, those men would start talking, and I'd be like, "Why is this nigga talking to me about? I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about your hopes and your dreams." You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Why is he doing this?" And then it became, it's because he doesn't have that at home. And so I became the vacation, which is
what I'm saying?
That's why I have the theory. Side bitches are Jamaica, and main women are, home. It's like, yeah, we like Jamaica. We go there, we have some fun, but you don't want to live in Jamaica. You eventually go home. You know what I mean? So I became the break from what was happening at home, and it worked out for me, because married dudes and dudes with girlfriends are great boyfriends because they feel guilty because they're not able to give you what they want to give at home. So that became comfortable for me because I was drawn and attracted to emotionally unavailable men. And I was like, oh, you know what? This is a safe place. I don't have to worry about this. But then when you get caught up and you fall in love with that married man, now you become the lady at home. I'm like, so you just gonna leave, you know what I mean? So then I became that, and then the dude that I was side widow to, he was cheating on me. So it was like, he got the wife, he got the mistress, and now he got a girlfriend because I ended up started, doing the same thing. And it's and I didn't realize this until I went to counseling, until I went to therapy, and I had a doctor start breaking and peeling my stuff back, and I was like, oh, I am really messed up.
You're fine.
And that's what it is. Yeah, like if I was a superhero, my superhero name would be Side Black Widow. But
yeah, somebody said Side Widow. I said that. I was like, wouldn't it be Side Black Widow? But okay. Thank you, Zombie. Thank you for commenting on the podcast. But we're joke writers, so we just saw a different joke. Sorry.
Thank you. You just tagged up my bit. I appreciate that. But it was like it was that stuff that I learned, and I used to think it was weird. I was like, yo, he's supposed to come over here. We supposed to just, he's supposed to hit these yams, and maybe we watch a movie, and then he'd go home. But
hits these yams.
These yams. And then he would come over and he'd be like, oh, I just want to talk tonight. Talk. Yeah, you supposed to be clapping these cheeks. Why are we like, I want to be your friend. I don't want to be your friend. I am your slam piece. I am supposed to be getting all of the dirty, sexy stuff that you want to do at home that you too scared to talk about. And it was like, oh, I am the Band-Aid on the broken leg of your marriage. Ah, that sucks.
Remember that Shy song, Comforter? You're the comforter. Remember that song? I will be your comforter.
Surrogate wife. You know what I mean? And I didn't. So it's not shocking to hear that men go to the strip club, and I've heard, I have friends that are strippers, and they like, these dudes just come in and tell their whole lives. It's kind of like us when we do stand up. We go on stage and we're telling our truth. We're telling our experiences, and the audience is cracking up laughing. And I'm like, but this is really my life. This is what I've been living. This is how I feel.
Now that you say that, I have dated guys and wouldn't tell them there was a problem, but we'll go on stage and do a total joke about it. And it's I'll talk about it to this audience. I'll tell them everything I hate about our relationship, but I won't tell you. I'll just ghost. But I'm not married. That's the difference. I'm not married. I don't owe anybody anything.
That's your MO. You will go tell a joke about a nigga in a minute.
I will.
Listen.
I'll write a skit. I'll write a script. I'll write a web series, but won't tell him.
Like it's so many dudes that I've dated that have contributed to some of my best bits, and And like dudes, like when they find out I'm a comedian, and I'm sure you experience that, Heather, they be like, "Oh, you a comedian? I'm not trying to date you because you might end up talking about me." That's 100% what I'm gonna do. Because stand up.
But you'll never see it coming.
But you won't see it. Like when my boyfriend used to come and see me do stand up, some of the jokes that I would do when he wasn't there, I would be like, I'm gonna leave that out.
Right. I will respect you that much.
Or I would say what I couldn't say to him on stage, and he'll be like, "So, well, yeah." You know what I mean? He's like, "Why didn't you just say that?" And I'm like, because I'm not the most effective communicator, even though I pride myself on being the best communicator. Like, I am trash as a human sometimes, and I'm just looking for balance.
I think we all are. I think we all are
at this point. And I want to normalize the whole "you're gonna die alone" thing, because usually when I say, "Oh, you know what, I'm single, I'm not dating, I'm just enjoying my life, and you know, if I don't get married, that's fine," and people are like, "No, Ty, one day you'll find love." But if I don't, that's okay. Like, can that be okay? If I don't find love and I'm just chilling by myself? Because I like to sleep in the middle of the bed. I like to sleep in the middle of the dead smack in the middle of the bed. And if I have a husband, I gotta share the bed. Like, I don't like to be held all night long. You can hug me for a little bit, but then get off me. I'm hot. I'm having a hot flash because I'm going through menopause. Get off me.
Doesn't that wear off though? They don't hold you all night forever. That's just like the first 2 years.
I literally dated a guy that when he had to have at least some part of his body touching me all night long.
That's me.
And if I was like,
I'm gonna be touching all night long, whether it be my hand, my foot, my penis, something.
Like, he had to be touching me, and like he would, if he rolled over in the middle of the night, he would literally wake me up in the middle of the night for me to roll over with him, and I'm like, I don't want to.
Synchronized sleeping. Let's put that one in the chat. Everything funny you guys are saying, I'm putting in the chat. Synchronized sleeping.
When I roll over, you better roll your ass over. You know what I'm saying? That's what
he really, and I'd be like, "Well, I gotta roll over." He come. So now I'm uncomfortable, or he wanted to hold me and nestle my arm, and dude, your elbow hurts. I don't want to lay it there. I want to lay on my pillow, and I want to do this. And then he's like, "No." And then sometimes I drool in my sleep, and you want me to sleep on your bare chest, and now it's spit on your chest.
Lord.
Let me be great, bro. I like to sleep in the bed. So I think that, I might be single for the rest of my life because I have obsessive compulsive disorder, diagnosed, not just I'm saying it because it sounds cool. I need things to be in a certain place. I need my home to be that way, and that will drive that has driven men crazy, because I'm like, who didn't put these DVDs back the way that they go? Why are they not in alphabetical order and not in the genre that they belong in? Who mounted my book? Who turned the labels of my canned goods out in my cabinet? Why are you doing that? Why are you trying to ruin my? I think I would rather be alone. I mean, you can still come through and hit these jams. You can have a spend the night bag, but take all your shit with you when you leave. Like, when I would date men, take all your stuff with you when you leave. And they're like, "Why I can't leave a bag?" Nah, I need you to take your stuff with you, because if we break up, I don't want you to have to come back here. So take your spend the night bag with you when you go. And you get.
But like, whenever they show old movies, I don't know if you guys watch old movies, but whenever they show like rich people in old movies, mother and father never share the same room. Mother has her room, father has her room. I think it's perfectly okay to, just because I love you and I want to build a life with you doesn't mean I want to sleep in the bed with you every night or even share a room with you. I think it's okay. I think we romanticize a lot of stuff. Sleep is functional. It keeps us alive. It doesn't have to be a nestle moment every night.
And sometimes I talk in my sleep. Don't wake up tomorrow and ask me about what I was talking about. First of all, that was private. It was personal. Don't ask me about what I was saying. And Drake in my dreams. I
wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the other people in my dream.
I was talking to Drake, and we were on a date, and we were having a good time. Don't ask me about my. You know what I mean? So I think that I think I would be okay with being alone, because I know the work that it requires to be in a partnership. Now, I'm not opposed to dating. I'm not dating right now. Like, I'm off the market. Don't nobody shoot your shot. I hate it. Don't do it.
Oh, they coming in them DMs, girl. You said smack them yams too many times. They coming in them DMs.
Like, don't do it. But I don't want a man to complete me. I want to be whole and healed when I come into my situation. I said this last night to someone. I don't need a man to complete me. I want him to compliment me. I don't want to complete him. I want to compliment him. I'm not your mother. I'm not your sister. I'm not your therapist. I am your partner. If you want a witness to your life, if you want a life partner, let's do life together. I don't even require a man to marry me. Like, I don't believe that I need to stand in a space and have somebody officiate my wedding. We can say, I know people who have been together for 20 years that are more married than people who are actually married.
Right.
So I don't even need that. Now, maybe ideally for me, I would need a super big house, and this part of the house is his, and he can do whatever he wants to it, and this part of the house is mine. And when it's time for us to be a couple and we have a common neutral space together, but like, I want
a third room.
You know what I mean? I want a big house, but I want an outhouse where he can go and do all of his man. You can have your man cave, and I want my woman cave. So if I can find a man that's cool with that,
yeah,
we could have 2 different houses on the same street. We could do that if you want.
We all grew up with a neighbor like that, though, didn't we? Low key, didn't everybody have a neighbor on their street? It was like a lady would come down, she would pull up into the driveway, and then she would leave in the morning and go down. Am I the only one that had somebody like that on their street? For years, that's how they got down.
That's where I'm at. But now I've become so comfortable with being alone. I used to be afraid to be alone. I used to be afraid to go to the movies and go to dinner. And now I go to, like, if I want to go see a movie, I go by myself. If I want to go to dinner, I go by myself. I don't have to call a dude that I'm not interested in, that I don't like, that I have no intentions on sleeping with. Okay, let's go to dinner because I'm hungry. No, I will go out to eat. And I don't take a book. I don't take anything to distract me. I'm just a single woman sitting here watching this movie, eating dinner by myself and enjoying that. So
I think that's perfectly okay. We talked about this on the first episode as well. And then some people were in the comments and they were asking, like, is it okay to feel that way? It absolutely is. The problem is, but I don't think you're the only person. I think it's a lot of people. They used to call them confirmed bachelors back in the day. And these were people that just were okay with being single. Again, another Bible thought, not trying to change the tone with the smacking of the yams and all of that. But the Apostle Paul called it the gift of singleness. So it's perfectly okay to be single. The problem becomes people that are like that intermingle with people that want more. And then they're like, you guys got to stay in your own, you guys got to date amongst yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Which I don't think you'll have a problem doing. I think if you meet a guy that wants more, you'll say, well, no. But then you have people that they don't know how to do that. They're gonna try to, like you said, change their mind or something like that. And people that don't want to, that are okay with being single, can't complain. In my opinion, they can't complain because you're not doing it. We don't have the same end game. We don't have the same end game. So you don't get to come over here you don't get to, men be like, no, because you said you want to be by yourself. So go somewhere.
Yep.
Because you one more person yelling at him. Now, when I say something, he ain't here because he was listening to you. No, you one less voice. We don't need this dialogue. So I do, other than that, because my mother had a friend, very dear friend. She was like an aunt to me, raised me. She never got married my whole life. She lives in Lathrop Village right now, still unmarried, big house. I never heard her talk about men. I never heard her be like, guys be like, she would just be like, I'm straight on these, I'm straight, I'm okay, I got my kids, my grandkids. I never heard her talking bad about men.
Yeah.
And it took me getting grown to be like, I think that's how you're supposed to do. I think if you make a decision for your life, you're supposed to remember that decision in other things you're doing. You don't get to come back in, and if you don't want to be with women, then don't worry about who can cook. Because you ain't trying to get married to nobody no way. So why are you complaining about who can't cook and who can't do this and these girls ain't acting right? Why you care? You ain't trying to be nobody's husband. So don't worry about it. You don't get to complain. Just go ahead and do what you do and keep it moving. Don't nobody want to hear all this stuff.
But just because I'm single don't mean I'm not trying to get these cheeks clapped.
I understand that. But like I said, that's a different end game than the people that don't want to die alone. Because like, okay, because you got 2 kids and a grandkid. It's a woman same age as you that's never been married and has no kids. You and her not talking to him for the same reason. You know what I mean? She trying to get a husband and a baby before it's too late. You just want your cheeks clapped. So you want them yams clapping.
Please.
So it's like y'all going into it with two different agendas.
And maybe we can go to a movie. Maybe we can hang out. We can be cool and all of that. But I like all that extra stuff. Like, oh, we need to get married and we got to pick out flowers and we got. Listen, bro. My favorite flowers are calla lilies and orchids. If you want to do that, cool. I don't want to do all of that extra stuff. I want to go. Let's take a trip. I want to. Hey, you know what? You know what we should do next month? We should go to Jamaica. Let's go. Take a trip real quick and go have hotel sex. Hotel sex is lit. Who doesn't want to do that sometimes?
Hotel sex, huh? Okay.
Hotel sex is lit. Let's do that.
You didn't know that?
No. I knew that. I mean, a lot of women like to, go stand out on the balcony and bend over and things like that. At least a friend told me that. You know what I'm saying?
This podcast is taking a very different turn.
I'm just saying.
Listen, you guys, I picked all my friends have personalities, so I definitely wanted you guys to bring exactly what you're bringing. Nobody's bored. Anybody in this queue, nobody's bored. Die Alone and the yams.
Yams.
That was the price of it. Side widow and yams clapping was worth the price of admission for me today. You know what I'm saying? I'm so glad you guys joined me today. Yeah, for sure. But Don, I don't want you to tell us all 10, but let's leave the listeners with some jewel of wisdom. What is one thing that men need that women probably have no idea? Besides the listening skills of a stripper. Besides that, what else? Which I'm sure we're all going to work on.
I'm going to tell you the number one thing that all women should take heed to. Now, there's an exception to this because it's, some people don't have the skill set that, like you just said, Heather, like if you're not really working with too much, then this conversation is not for you. But the one thing that a lot of men that I know, and just from speaking to a lot of married men and guys that's been in long-term relationships, that they seem to cannot convey to their partner is, and this just kind of ties in with the listening thing, but in the bedroom, okay, outside of the bedroom, check it out.
Both lean in.
Listen. There is a misconception that women like foreplay more than men. Okay, so listen, I talk to a lot of men, and a lot of men complain about stuff like this. It's like, hey, a girl or my wife, yeah, she's getting real dress, but she's on that when she's going out with a girl. You know what I'm saying? And then I gotta see her with the bonnet and the holy ass long johns on. You get what I'm saying now? I'm gonna bring this full circle. So when men try to speak to their women about, hey, listen, let's try to, maybe explore some things in the bedroom, or babe, I'm not, maybe I don't like this. We should try it this way. A lot of men that I talked to said, like, a lot of women kind of like getting their feelings when men start talking to them about, what they're doing to them sexually. Now, again, if you carry business, it don't apply to you. But I'm saying for the most part, I've talked to a lot of men that say, hey, listen, I don't want to tell, what I'm saying, my girl or, my longtime partner or my wife that, I don't like A, B, and C, because when I say this, she getting her feelings about it, and it's, she feeling it's become a real bad situation. And what I'm saying is, again, let's go back to that socially accepted stuff. I feel like women say that shit all the time about men. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, bro, if you coming in here, this serious business. Like, we not for no games in here. And I feel like women really let it be known, like, this what the fuck we want, this how I need it done. Either you can get it done or you can't. On the flip side, maybe on the other hand, it's like, hey, you know, I need you to, you know, maybe be a little bit more sexy, you know, put something on for me or dress something up. If you coming to bring me that lunch, or we having a little lunch day, or, you know, in the morning, maybe the kids are asleep. Use your imagination. Let's play a little bit. And I feel like men, we're always tasked with the ones that need to be more romantic. We're the ones that tasked with, you know, you need to bring more love and creativity to the relationship and all this kind of stuff. But on the flip side, the minute we start saying these things is, oh, you only feel like that because you looking at all these nasty freak bitches showing their ass on Instagram and all this whole kind of shit. And no, it's not like that. What it is, listen to me. What it really real. I'm about to speak for all men. I'm stepping into the room. When we bring this to you, you know what I'm saying? We're not saying this to you to so that you can get in your feelings about it. We just want to see that with you. You get what I'm saying? Regardless of how your ass is. We want to see you in them thongs. We want to see you in that bathing suit coming out the bathroom and them heels or whatnot. And here's the deal. I have talked to a lot of men that say whenever they say this to women kind of get in their feelings about this shit, or, you know, they feel some kind of way. And I think that's kind of selfish. I really do. And again,
it's not though. It's not selfish. It's insecure. What he's doing is, if a woman says to a man, you got to do this, this, and this, a man is a hunter. He's going to rise to the challenge. Oh, here's the thing. In his mind, he's going to think he rose, and then he might not. He might fail. But in his mind, he's going to be like, okay, let's go in like a bull. Whereas when a man does that to a woman, she hears, I'm not good enough. And I'm not saying it's right, but it's not her being selfish. It's really her being her feeling like, oh, so you're saying the way I'm giving it to you is not good. Oh, so I'm not good. Oh, you think that's better than what I have. And that's where the conversation is. The conversation isn't do better. The conversation is, first of all, honey, I love you the way you are, but let's just shake it up a little bit because I'm excited by the thought of doing it this way. Yeah. But when you can go with her and say, how come y'all never put on sexy panties? So you saying what I'm doing is wrong. That's where the disconnect is. And that, I mean, I'm just since you're all men, I'm just giving so that you can go tell all men. That's how they should do it.
My thing, just to wrap it up, is, ladies, listen to your man when he come to you and have that conversation, because again, a lot of times, you know, women are very dismissive of men, similar to what you said, Ty. At the end of the day, when that dude finally build up enough courage or come out that shell to say, hey, babe, you know, I feel this way about this. That's not the time to clown him.
Yeah.
Talking to he gonna be talking to you know, twerk something with the clear heels on next week because his feelings was hurt. That's the time to really listen to him the most and say, okay, let me at least try this. Because here's the deal. I've noticed this, like I've talked to people that have been in long-term relationships, and they always say, yeah, listen to one another. But like you said, Heather, I really genuinely feel like when women say some, like, oh, you know what I'm saying, a real man would do when they get to say it like that. Like, a lot of them, for the most part, be feeling like, damn, like I step up to this shit. I step up to this challenge because I want to be no, what I'm saying.
When she does that, it's almost like she's saying he's weak. She's challenging him to step up. Yeah.
And men challenge women. It'd be, oh, you know what? Well, that then, like what I you did, I'm go emotionally cheat on your ass with 10 on there because he don't want me to him, and I that's fucked up.
Or you could just say it different and get a better result. I mean, like if you could just switch those words around and get a better result, why wouldn't you? Like why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you just we know all the words. We got all these words. Use them. You don't have to say it the same way. Say it a different way. Because if your intention is truly not to hurt her and she doesn't get that, then you're communicating your thoughts poorly.
Or what I found for me, especially with the topic of sex with my partner, like with my last partner, whenever we had sexual discussions, we didn't do it in the bedroom when we were naked because you're more vulnerable. So we would have the conversation somewhere else. And I remember one time he was like, you remember that time where you kind of jumped on me when I got off work? And I was like, yeah. He was like, could I get more of that? I was like, okay, yeah, you can get more of that. And I said, well, since we're putting in requests, I try this.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh, word? I didn't even think you was into that. And I was like, I think I am. And
Yeah.
so like talking is better, but sometimes it's not so much as what you say or how you say it. It's also about where you say it.
That's true.
So
That's very true.
We would have our sexual conversations not in the bedroom. Now, once we butt naked and we pouring honey and shit on each other, nigga, we in there. We'll talk about it next time.
Yeah, I think a great place now that you just said that is like when y'all take
little Ty over here. Wow.
like when y'all taking a shower with each other and it's just like you put some soap on their back and it's like, you know what? I kind of don't like the way you're doing it. If you do it this way, then y'all can leave, go to, you know what I'm saying, go y'all separate ways, work that day, then come back later on and practice it and put it into application. You know, apply what you discussed.
Apply. You guys are silly. As I predicted, Ty and Don were very aiming us today. Ty representing DMV, Don, Detroit to Atlanta. I'm pulling people from all over the country because what I don't want is a regional podcast where people think we're only talking about things in the city. I need people to understand everybody's having the same situations. And what I hate most of all is when people pick their city and be like, Detroit dudes be like, it's like, girl, that's all over the world. Stop limiting your scope. So and Ty, her East Coast swag is so official. Don, I don't know if you can tell. I could call East Coast people from a mile away. That swag is second to none. It's unmistakable. And Don has that Midwest Detroit swag that's also unmistakable to someone like myself that goes all over. And I could point a Detroit guy out from a space station on the moon. I could be like, he's from Detroit. And I could be like, she's from the East Coast. I could tell by the way she put that sentence together that she sees water. She sees oceans in her childhood. So I want to thank you guys both for coming out. We're going to wrap it up because I don't like to talk anything to death. You know what I mean? I think that the key to a successful podcast is knowing when to shut up and leave some for the next time. And I definitely hope that you guys will come back and bless my cast again with your unique and dynamic personalities. But since everybody has goals in life, Ty, why don't you tell people how they can find you and how they can help you meet your Instagram goal?
Funny. Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at comedian Ty Davis. It's the same on all my social media, but I'm focusing on Instagram right now. I also have a podcast called Lost and Found. I have 2 seasons that are out right now. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do any more episodes for the rest of this year and just take a break and start season 3 in 2021. I'm not sure, but I have enough episodes for you to go and listen. The link is in my bio on Instagram. And I'm also writing and working on some projects that I hope will materialize and you will see these stories and you know, tell a friend or whatever. Don't shoot your shot. Don't hit me in my DMs. I'm not interested. I am doing the single thing. I'm on mancation right now. And Heather, thank you so much for even thinking of me to come on your podcast. You didn't tell me what the name of it was. I didn't know until I said, I'm a dial. But
wow, she did the same thing to me. That's all I'm doing.
I said, what the? I'm a dial. I was like,
Gon Die Alone.
This is great. I support you wholeheartedly. I would love to come back. And yeah, so follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at comedian Ty Davis, Lost and Found podcast. Link is in my bio on Instagram. And Don, it was so nice to meet you and hear your perspective and talk to you. And I'm going to follow you if you have all that stuff too.
Yeah.
So.
And don't forget, Ty is also on Comedy Central's Heart of the City. So if you have Comedy Central, please go on demand. They do have Heart of the City episodes up. Find Baltimore. Who was on your episode with you?
We don't care about those niggas.
Okay, so go find and just watch the Ty episode and fast forward past everybody else. Thanks so much, Ty. Don, go ahead and tell everybody how they can keep up with you and tell them what you're working on.
I just I'm Don_Snipes, nothing fancy, and that's all across all platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and yeah, I just finished a feature film. It's called In a Sentimental Mood, where I co-star with the wonderful Deborah Lane. And
Deborah, great girl.
That will be out maybe within the next few months. If anybody has a little chill time, you can go check out The Users, directed by Darren Brown on Amazon, or Stay in Your Place, any of those flicks. I'm currently in the process of, I'm at the inception of finishing one of my first features, because I've done a lot of ghostwriting for other people. So, it's time to like really get my stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
And, other than that, I'm just, I'm always like kind of open and evolving, and that's what I'm really interested in. I mean, like the acting and all the other kind of stuff is just one aspect of my life, but like on some real stuff, I'm a foodie at heart, and I just love life, love learning from it, and just the whole experience. So.
Well,
Heather, wait.
Yes.
And thank you. And you were nice today, because usually Heather is mean to me, Ty. And Heather was nice today, and I am just, you see me smiling, like, see,
he just wasn't gonna let it go. He just wasn't gonna let it go.
You were nice. Listen, Ty, when I read the title, I was like, hey, Heather, what's it? What? I texted her, I was like, I'm like, show what's going on. Come on now, send me this link. But Heather,
does that make you mad?
I really, you know what I'm saying? You're very, very talented, and kudos to you. Much success to you on all your endeavors, and
Thank you.
I look forward to visiting you again in the future.
Yeah, I was trying to explain that to you, Don. Every episode is a different problem. I think that some of us are facing. It may not apply to everyone, but it's kind of like, I don't know who need to hear this, but
yeah.
And so the first episode was called "You Got Too Many Rules." And we kind of talked about the people that have all the rules of dating and might be possibly blocking themselves from love. And then we have the next episode. I have my friend Sean Larkins from The Neighborhood, Cedric's show on CBS, The Neighborhood. He was one of the writers, and my girl Keisha E. And we're talking about people that don't know how to close. Okay, because I mean, a lot of people are they don't know how to talk to nobody, so that's why they're not meeting people. So it's not to say that the name of the podcast is because you're going to die alone, because you're afraid. It was actually a revelation I had about myself during quarantine, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, because remember the first like few days of quarantine when we thought everybody was going to die, and it was like, oh my God, you're going to die alone. Oh my God.
Yep.
And that's kind of how I got the idea for the podcast. So. It's more of a shock value thing than a prediction for my friends' lives. One of my friends, I asked him to do it, and he was like, yeah, but can we talk about it first? And I know he was over there tripping, like, what are you saying? It's cool.
Can you do an episode? I would be interested in seeing it. An episode about polyamory versus monogamy. That's a topic that I'm.
Because you're not interested in monogamy? Is that what you said?
But I love to hear men and women.
Oh well, we gonna have to have Snipes back for that, because he's an expert on poly. So
I'll be being
a man of many hats. Yeah, we'll have to have Don back for that one. Actually, I have a few poly friends. Poly people aren't gonna die alone. It seems like they'll be surrounded by many people.
Poly people have it figured out.
It seems to me like if you poly and lonely, you're doing poly wrong. Because you're supposed to have a best friend and a lover at any given moment.
How about that?
But whatever, I don't know anything about it because I love Jesus. So I don't know anything.
Niggas is lying on this podcast tonight.
I don't know anything about a poly life because Christ teaches us one man takes one woman. Okay.
Well, so that's done. I'm a heathen. So when you talk about it, I'm trying to listen because I'm interested in that whole situation. I want to talk about that. I like to see that type of conversation because women hate when I talk about polyamory, and I'm like, it might not be a bad idea. I'm just saying. They'll
be all right. We'll talk about it if it needs to be discussed. We'll talk about it. We'll definitely put that on the list of the topics. All right, people at home. Monica, thank you for watching as always. Melanie, people in my comments. Jasmine, Jasmine Zombie. Are your friends in there too?
Yeah, I had pull up. Shout out to my girl Afton. Thank you for watching and supporting.
Thank you so much. And Sophisto Soul and Demetrius, you were a little obnoxious, but we do appreciate you for coming in. But the obnoxious was on 10. So we're going to need to dial that back next time, because if you think I won't block somebody, y'all don't know Heather J. So, because what you're not going to do is annoy me because I can't look at this and this at the same time. So I'm over here like the mama, like, what you saying in the comments? I can't afford moderators yet. You just wait till I get $5. So I think somebody will be deleting those comments for sure. All right. Thanks so much, guys. We will see you. We're going to be back next Tuesday with Sean and Keisha and people who don't know how to close. And we'll see you next time on You Gon Die Alone. Peace out. Bye, guys.
Bye.